Hello and welcome to this tutorial for the game Tarantula Tango. Since the setup is done so quickly, I've included it in this video instead of making a separate one. Start by placing the little board in the middle of all players. Then take out all the cards and shuffle them. You're supposed to deal out all of the cards to all the players, but if you prefer to play a shorter game, you could also give each player fewer cards, as long as every player has the exact same amount. You may not look at the cards, just make a deck and keep it face down. But that's it. That is the setup for Tarantula Tango. Place the board and deal the cards. Decide who is the first player and you can start. Next, how do you play this game? You are going to play until one person has no more cards left. That person is instantly the winner. That's it. If you're the first one to have no more cards left, you are the winner. So, what do you do when it's your turn? When it's your turn, you first have to deal with the card that the person next to you played, and you finish your turn by placing the next card on the table around the board. Let me go into detail a bit more. So the first thing you do is deal with the card that the player next to you placed on the table against the little board. When you play the basic game, that will be the player to your right because you go clockwise around the table. For now, I'm the player to your right and I placed this card. My card shows a dog and has one little spider on the card as well. And that little spider is the most important part. Since there is a dog on the card, you have to make the sound of a dog. And since there is one little spider on the card, that means you have to make that sound one time. So, woof. Sometimes there are two little spiders on the card, in which case you have to make the sound twice. In the example of the dog, that would be woof woof. Sometimes there is no little spider on the card, in which case you have to stay silent. Don't make a noise. An important detail. Officially you have 2 seconds time to do this. You're not allowed to take your time to look at the card for a long time and slowly decide what to do. You have 2 seconds. And then the next step, after you have dealt with the card from the other player, it's your turn to play a card. You place that next to the card that was just played, going clockwise. I placed my card with the dog here, so when you've made the sound of a dog, once you play your card here to the left of it. And then it's the next player's turn. For this, there's only one exception. Sometimes a card shows 2 big animals on it. In that case, you have to place your cards 2 spaces further. And that's it. When it's your turn, deal with the card that was just played. You make the sound of the animal once or twice, or maybe not at all. That depends on how many little spiders you see. And after that, you take the top card of your own deck and place it open on the next space. Or maybe 2 spaces next to it if it showed 2 animals. If at one point during your turn you make a mistake, you have to take all the cards that are open on the table and put them on the bottom of your own deck. If you make a wrong sound, that's a mistake. If you didn't make the sound the right number of times, that's a mistake. If you placed your own card in the wrong spot, that's a mistake. Gather up all the cards and take them. The only good news is that you get to go first. So, if you make the fewest mistakes or no mistakes at all, you'll probably be the first person to have no more cards and become the winner. One last thing, and then we're already done. There is one final card that might suddenly appear on the table, and that's this one showing all the big spiders. If that happens, every player has to put a hand flat on the table. The person who does this last is the loser and has to take all the cards, just like when you make a mistake. So the spider card is when you put your hand on the table as quickly as possible. Since this is a reaction, everyone is probably going to slam their hand on the table. We're finished. This is how you play the basic game of Tarantula Tango. If you don't have any problems with colors, you will see that each animal has its own color. That will help you to quickly make the right sound. In my experience, people often mistake the goat for the donkey, even though the goat is yellow and the donkey has a green background. Another tip is this. As I've said, this is how you play the basic game. But the little rule book has an option to play it at level 2 and level 3 all the way up to level 5. If you're playing with people that are 14 years and older, my advice is to play this game with these extra levels, because it can become hilariously fun. You sometimes don't place card on other spaces, you go in another direction, it all becomes very chaotic. Give it a try. Anyway, thank you for watching this tutorial. Feel free to leave a comment and see you for the next one.